Welcome back. As we move out of February and step into March, this is one of those months where Social Security can feel a little off. And here's something that catches a lot of people by surprise. Some recipients will not see an SSI payment during March, at least not in the way they expect. That can feel stressful if you're not prepared for it. At the same time, over 70 million Americans are still relying on these payments every single month to cover the basics: rent, groceries, medications, all of it. So today, we're walking through the Social Security payment schedule for March 2026, what's actually happening with the timing, and a few important updates that could affect how you experience your benefits right now. Understanding this clearly can really help you avoid unnecessary stress this month. Before we get into it, let me ask you something simple. When your payment timing shifts even a little bit, does it throw off your monthly planning, or have you gotten used to it over time? Let me know in the comments. It's always helpful to hear how people handle this. So let's start with the biggest thing people are noticing in March, and that's the SSI situation, because this is where most of the confusion is coming from. If you receive supplemental security income, your March 2026 payment actually arrives early, on Friday, February 27th. The reason is straightforward. March 1st falls on a weekend, so the system pushes that payment forward to the last business day before it. That means if you see a deposit at the end of February, that is your March SSI payment. And yes, this is where it can feel uncomfortable, because when March actually arrives, there's no new SSI deposit coming in that month. It's not missing. It's not delayed. It was simply paid early. The Social Security Administration has explained this directly. When the first of the month falls on a weekend or holiday, they send the payment ahead of time so you're not left waiting. But it does not mean you're receiving extra money. This is one of those moments where timing really matters, because if you're budgeting month to month, it can feel like something disappeared even though it didn't. Now, if you receive both Social Security and SSI, or if you began receiving Social Security before May 1997, your Social Security payment is scheduled for Tuesday, March 3rd, 2026. That date stays consistent and follows a different schedule than SSI. For everyone else receiving Social Security retirement, disability, or survivor benefits, your payment is still based on your birthday. If your birthday falls between the 1st and the 10th, your payment arrives on Wednesday, March 11th. If your birthday falls between the 11th and the 20th, your payment comes on Wednesday, March 18th. And if your birthday falls between the 21st and the 31st, your payment arrives on Wednesday, March 25th. When you look at the full March picture, SSI payments came early on February 27th. Social Security payments for early recipients arrive on March 3rd, and then the rest follow on March 11th, March 18th, and March 25th. If your payment doesn't show up right away, Social Security generally recommends waiting about 3 business days before reaching out, because sometimes banks process things a little slower, especially around weekends. Now, beyond the schedule itself, there's a bigger conversation happening around Social Security right now, and a lot of people are starting to pay closer attention to it. A recent update from the Congressional Budget Office showed that the Social Security Trust Fund could be depleted by 2032. 1 year earlier than previously expected. If nothing changes, benefits would continue, but they would be reduced to match incoming revenue, which primarily comes from payroll taxes. In plain terms, that could mean roughly a 7% reduction starting in 2032, followed by deeper cuts after that if the issue isn't addressed. That's still several years away, and a lot can change between now and then, but it does highlight something important. Social Security is stable today. Payments are still going out, but there are long-term questions that policymakers are going to have to deal with. For a lot of people, that creates a mix of feelings. You're receiving your benefits as expected right now, but hearing about potential changes down the road creates an uncertainty that can sit in the back of your mind. Speaking of how things feel right now, let's talk about the cost of living adjustment for 2026, because by March, people have had a few months to really see how it plays out in real life. The COLA for this year is 2.5%, which works out to roughly $50 to $60 more per month for the average retiree. On paper, that sounds helpful, but in reality, a lot of people are saying it doesn't stretch very far, and a big reason for that is Medicare. Medicare Part B premiums increased again in 2026, and for many recipients, that premium is taken directly out of the Social Security check. So even though the total benefit went up, the amount actually hitting your account may not feel much different. It's a bit like getting a raise while your bills go up faster than your income, and that's a pretty accurate way to describe what many people are experiencing right now. There's also been a lot of discussion around taxes this year, and this is something that caught people off guard. Some retirees received retroactive payments after changes to older rules, specifically the windfall elimination provision and the government pension offset. These changes restored benefits for a lot of public sector workers, which was a positive development overall. But here's the part that surprised many people. Those lump sum payments can be taxable. Depending on your total income, up to 85% of your Social Security benefits can be subject to federal tax. So some people who received those larger payments are now seeing smaller refunds or unexpected tax bills. In some cases, it can also affect Medicare premiums through something called IRMA, which is based on your income level. There's a proposal being discussed that could remove taxes on those restored benefits, but as of now, it has not been passed. It's something to keep an eye on, but not something to count on just yet. On top of that, there's also a new $6,000 tax deduction available for seniors age 65 and older. At first glance, that sounds like meaningful relief, but here's where it gets a little tricky. That deduction lowers your taxable income, but it doesn't necessarily reduce Medicare premiums, because those are calculated differently. So you might save on taxes without seeing any change in your healthcare costs. And this is really where Social Security starts to feel complicated for a lot of people. Your benefits, your taxes, and your Medicare costs all interact in ways that aren't always obvious from the outside. Another significant change happening right now is how Social Security itself is operating behind the scenes. Starting in early March, the system is shifting toward a more centralized model. Instead of local offices handling most cases, work is being distributed across the country, meaning someone in a different state might be working on your case. The idea is to improve efficiency, especially as the agency deals with staffing shortages. Thousands of employees have left over the past year, and the system is trying to adapt. For some people, this shift could be beneficial, potentially reducing backlogs and speeding things up in certain situations. But there are also concerns, because local offices used to carry a deeper understanding of specific state rules and individual circumstances. When things become more centralized, it can sometimes feel less personal and harder to navigate if your situation is more complex. It's a transition, and like most transitions, it may take some time before things feel smooth again. Stepping back and looking at March as a whole, this month really highlights something worth keeping in mind. It's not just about when your payment arrives, it's about understanding how timing works, how policies affect your actual take-home amount, and how changes inside the system shape your overall experience. If there's one practical thing to hold on to this month, it's this. If you received your SSI payment early at the end of February, be mindful of how you pace that money through March, because it needs to cover the full month. It's also a good idea to double-check your direct deposit information, keep an eye on your account around your scheduled payment date, and stay cautious of any unexpected calls or messages claiming to be from Social Security. As March moves forward, the system is still doing what it's designed to do, sending payments out to millions of people on time. But there are changes happening, both small and large, that are shaping what Social Security looks like going forward. Stay informed, stay prepared, and take care.